Many Americans are saddled with student loan debt. Many are also struggling to pay their medical bills, even if they have health insurance. In this week's headlines, there are calls to deal with both. Here to talk about these and other topics for this Friday's Business Report is George Belch from SDSU's Fowler School of Business. George, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we saw this week the first Democratic presidential debates. In advance of those debates, Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders pitched this idea of canceling all student loan debt. What might it do for the economy? How might it act as an economic stimulus?
Well, if you're putting this money into the economy, if I'm paying $300 or $400 a month for paying a student loan, and now I could put that into a car payment, I could put that into a home payment. I might be able to buy my first home. I might be able to upgrade. Clearly, that's going to have the potential for some economic stimulus. We do have to realize you have to pay for it in one way or another, and this whole movement is part of trying to address the income inequality issue. The proposal is to impose a tax on transactions, Wall Street stocks, bonds, derivatives, and that's where the funding would come from it. We have a lot of factors to consider here, but clearly it probably would have a strong economic stimulus effect.
Conversation is really getting started on that one. I want to switch gears dramatically. President Trump this week ordered hospitals and insurance companies to reveal upfront out-of-pocket costs to patients before procedures. How far might this go in actually reducing people's medical expenses?
That's a great question. Clearly what the president's trying to do is introduce more transparency into the system by telling consumers this is what it's going to cost you to go to the doctor, to go to the hospital, to have a certain procedure. This is what the insurance company is going to pay. This is what the out-of-pocket costs are going to be. So it's a step in the right direction, but we will have to see how much that would really have an effect, because we don't know what the patients will do. We don't know how much they really will shop around, and depending on the type of coverage you have, you might just say, well, my plan will cover that anyway. But people with limited health care plans, it might be very valuable to them.
I want to wrap this up with a more local story. So the grocery union, or actually the union representing grocery workers, authorized a strike this week. What's at stake for both sides?
Both sides have a lot at stake here. The United Food and Commercial Workers Union members did have the vote. They authorized the strike. That puts another weapon into the side of the union. I think the stakes are a little bit different this time because consumers have more alternatives. I can now go get groceries at Target and Walmart and Trader Joe's and Aldi, Whole Foods. I can order them on Amazon. And so I think that the grocery stores have to be sitting there saying, boy, what happens here if we don't come to some agreement? They strike, and it's not only them, but all the organized labor people who boycott our stores. And so they don't come in. On the other hand, if you look at the workers are saying, you know, you're giving us a 1 or 2% pay increase, but what we really want in many cases is better health care. We want a better pension plan. So there's a lot at risk. You have to hope that both sides can come to an agreement. The strike is going to hurt both of them, and I think both of them have to be fearful of what's going to happen. Maybe over the next 2 weeks they'll be able to resolve it, but the strike threat will clearly make the grocery stores think more about returning to the negotiating table.
And we have to close it there. George Belch from the Fowler School of Business at SDSU, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.